I'm here at the Hyatt Hotel with Alan and his wife Peggy. And Alan, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here on Saipan.
Well, my name is Alan Sontag, and currently residing outside of Austin, Texas. And my wife and I, many years ago, decided that it was important for us to honor our fathers by visiting the sites where they were stationed during World War II. My dad spent time here on Saipan, and my wife's dad spent time. In fact, he landed on Utah Beach during D-Day. And it's just one of those important things we really wanted to do to honor our parents.
You came here to Saipan how long ago?
Well, we came to Saipan about 3 days ago.
All right, and what have you done since?
Well, we've been on a tour with Walt, a day-and-a-half tour, 1 day of Saipan, and pretty much another full day of Tinian, where we got to see many of the historic sites that we've read about as youngsters and that we've heard about to some extent from our parents. And those are really the big things that we have done here on Saipan and Tinian.
And one of the things that I found really interesting about what you came here to do was you were fortunate enough to have some photos that your father took here on Saipan during 1944. And you brought those with you. And what was your plan?
Well, my dad had a number of World War II memorabilia and quite a few photos of him and his buddies, and also of the surrounding area. And I tried to pick out about 30 photos where landmarks could be identified. And we were fortunate enough to find several spots where my dad either took a picture from or, quite frankly, where he stood in a couple of cases. And we've learned about some other sites that were there 80 years ago but do not exist today. So the pictures were very useful, and they helped us and helped me, quite honestly, remember my dad.
Excellent. For me, it was a lot of fun as well. That's always a very popular and exciting thing here on Saipan. People are really interested to experience Saipan through the eyes of the military, through the eyes of visitors, through the eyes of people who've been here. So seeing photographs from the 1944 and being able to compare them with what the island looks like now was really fascinating for me. I had a lot of fun going through it as well. So I thank you for that.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and your help was helpful in it, kind of determining where we should look and find those spots that are very, very special. And I think we accomplished that in the 2 days that we are here. We learned a lot about both Saipan and Tinian, about the role our military played back in 1944 and 45, and that just my dad has been gone about 21 years, and probably the one regret is we weren't able to do this with him 25 years or so ago, but. We were able to do it in the last week, and for that, we're very thankful that we had the opportunity to do that.
And tell us a little bit about your dad. What was his name, and what was his position and role and rank here on Saipan?
Well, I don't know a great deal. His name is Herman Sontag, and he was with the Army Air Force. He was, I'm quite certain, came on to the island after the island was captured by the Americans. He was an administrative person. I think he was a staff sergeant. And my guess is he was probably bivouacked down where the current airfield is, along with probably thousands of Marines, airmen, and soldiers.
And I'm sure people are also interested in you as the son of a military person. Do you also have some military connection as well?
Well, yeah, I served in the Air Force from 71 to 75. I was an aerial reconnaissance weather observer, and that's been roughly 50 years ago. So the time went by very quickly.
Was there anything that stood out about seeing Saipan and Tinian for the first time?
It's a very sobering place to visit. whether you're American or Japanese. It's a very sobering place, and I would place it in the same category as a Pearl Harbor or places like that. Gettysburg, for those that are familiar with the Civil War back in the States. But there are a number of places in our country that I think are very, very special, very important to visit and to think about the things that took place there. In some cases, a couple hundred years ago, and others 80 years ago, and some are much more current.
Well, I'm glad you were able to, or we were able to accomplish some of what you came here to do. I know you're going to leave with some really interesting shots where you positioned yourself in exactly the same spot that your father did 80 years ago, which is really, really cool when you think about it.
Yes, that was probably the most special moment, was to actually stand on the piece of real estate that my dad stood on 79 and a half years ago. In fact, the date he stood there was November 14th of 1944. So when you think about that, he was 24 or so years old at the time. So a lot of time has gone by, but it was an honor and a privilege to stand on the same soil that he did.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. The people of Saipan welcome you, and I'll be sharing some of the photos that you've shared graciously with me so that they can also get a look at what Saipan was like. It's really fascinating to see the island. So thanks again to you, Alan. Thanks again, Peggy. It was great hanging out with you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Subscribe.
You know what a man said.